when was the last time you tried to remember anything? Or solve a problem without Googling it first? Right? It's a simple question, but the answers, I think, are quite illuminating. See, increasingly nowadays, we're living our lives with our brains in our pockets. And that's the idea I'd like to explore with you today. Our tech is wonderful in that it makes life easier and more efficient, but it is quietly stripping us of some essential human qualities, like our ability to remember, our capacity to think critically about things, and even our capacity for compassion for one another. And the worst part, we don't even realize it's happening. Now, this isn't a story about quitting technology or throwing everything away that you own. Maybe a story about taking a few steps to reclaim something you didn't necessarily mean to give up in the first place. Let's start with our ability to remember. Years ago, we used to have to remember dozens of phone numbers, and now we struggle to remember even just one. Why? In 2015, the Kaspersky Lab coined the term digital amnesia and found that 90% of its users have the internet as a universal memory aid, with a further 40% forgetting the information they were looking at altogether, purely because they knew where to find it afterwards. This connects towards what's known as the Google effect, essentially meaning if there is an expectancy for information to be in a location, there is no need to encode it deeply for you to be able to remember it. From neuroscience, we learn that memory consolidation is built on retrieval, repetition, and emotional salience. Where those expectancies are in place, those processes can't engage. This even happens when you take pictures of things. In 2014, Linda Henkel at Fairfield University found that users who were taking pictures of objects were less likely to remember details about them when compared to those who just observed the object in reality. It's called the photo-taking impairment effect. Essentially, in those moments, the camera is acting as your brain, so your brain relaxes. Think of it this way. When was the last time you were at a concert? Did you take videos and pictures while you were there? Yeah? How about your kids' play? Did you take videos while you were there too? When was the last time you watched them? Apart from when somebody makes a comment on the post you made about it. I would argue not that many. Do we really want to offload these moments of our lives to devices to remember them for us? Is it not purer to remember these things ourselves? Now, cards on the table, I might be a little bit biased in saying this. My parents have been to pretty much everything I've ever done in this country. My mum is actually here tonight. Not once have they taken a photo or a video. We have them from the services that were there at the time, but I remember more the feeling of pride I felt from looking out and seeing them, rather than a device snapped in front of it. We still talk nowadays about that time in red class in primary school when I had to stagger around the stage pretending to be drunk as part of an old ragtime musical nearly 30 years later. Now let's look at our ability to think. Cognitive offloading. Essentially something that refers to the search for external tools to do our thinking for us rather than rely on the internal systems that we already have built in place. In 2016, Risco and Gilbert found that there was a double-edged sword in this area, and that it does help us to manage the cognitive load of dealing with whatever problem we have, but it reduces our independence with problem solving. And there lies the road through. This kind of blind reliance has the lure of convenience about it, but has all of these problems attached. I see it often with my kids during their homework. They don't ask questions like, how do I solve this? Or how do I figure this out? They ask questions like, where can I find the answer? You see, we've taught a generation how to locate information, not how to wrestle with a problem or struggle with the question. And struggle is so important. That's where growth happens. In 2020, neuroscientist Marianne Wolf spoke of the benefit of deep reading and reflection. because it activates those parts of the brain involved in empathy and insight, something that skimming news headlines and doom scrolling for details doesn't get you. Instead of analysis, we have what Nicholas Carr, author of The Shallows, calls continuous partial attention. Always consuming and never concentrating. We could speak of attention decay. In 2015, a Microsoft study found that of its users, as of the year 2000, they had around a 12-second attention span that dropped in 2015 to around 8.25 seconds. Now that's less than that of a goldfish. Kind of makes you wonder what it would be today. See, we live our lives with these devices and their algorithms just constantly bombarding us, constantly confirming our biases and confirming our ideologies. We have what Paris's filter bubble calls a lack of questioning our beliefs altogether. Now that's not convenient. That's cognitive rigidity. Empathy and compassion are also under fire in this way, and it's arguably worse for them because the corrosion is slow. You see, compassion is not a button that you can press. It is a muscle that is built over time and with patience. Digital communication doesn't allow for somebody's facial expression or their tone of voice or their movement of the body to convey meaning, something that our mirror neurons rely on in order to have empathy and compassion, to understand, and that's all they are. Empathy and compassion, they are vehicles for understanding. Without those strings of data, connection struggles. A 2010 meta-analysis from Conrath and the rest of their gang found that 40% of college students have had a drop in their capacity for empathy since the 80s, with the steepest drop coming as of the year 2000. No prizes for guessing that that mirrors the rise of the smartphone and social media. Online, we don't just miss cues. We are kind of backed into competition. Social media encourages us to compete over these curated lives and undermines compassion. It's not just sad, it's socially corrosive. Without practicing this kind of in-person conversation, this in-person conflict, we lose our ability to emotionally regulate, which is a key part of emotional intelligence. We are more connected, yet lonelier than ever, more reactive and less equipped to deal with the problems that ensue. As part of my role as an investigator and previously as a bouncer, you would have to sit across the table from some arguably horrible people. And in those moments, your role is about understanding. It's not about what you think or feel about the moment, you need to understand. And I'm sure we've all seen those situations with I believe the polite term is drunken reprobates in a bar. I risk escalating those moments to go over to them and go, "You, out." Understanding helps in those situations. If we could practice more our ability to pause and allow critical thinking to come back, we could avoid unnecessary steps towards emotional burnout. And I get it. Tech has this wonderful pitch of making everything stronger, faster, more efficient. But the cost is that the muscle of being human is built through challenge. We give away that challenge, we give away growth. We have AI coaches telling us how to improve, AI therapists telling us how to think, AI writers expressing our thoughts, AI artists expressing our imagination. As we understand from Dr. Anjan Chatterjee of the Pennsylvania University, AI is capable of reflecting these things back to us, but can do nothing to generate lived experience. It is the difference between information and meaning. We ask ourselves, do we really want the illusion of empathy? A 2023 Harvard Business Review found that users of AI coaches and therapists felt understood in practical matters, but felt little to no understanding of their emotional needs, with only 32% reporting any connection whatsoever. You see, the qualities of resilience, self-awareness, and compassion, they're built through confronting the struggle and working with those difficult times to have the learning that guides you through it. This blind reliance on these services to do our thinking for us and our feeling for us risks our ability to genuinely connect to another individual, that authentic part of a relationship. So every good and bad memory, every challenging or difficult piece of information, every brushstroke, every keystroke is a step in the direction of generating your human experience. If we could practice more of these steps in this area around self-control, they are steps towards discipline and motivation, but under our own steam. There is a growing trend among short-form social media content from TikTok and Instagram and the like, where you can enter this prompt into ChatGPT and it will give you step by step all of the things that you need to do to start living the life that you want to live. Wonderful. That's a great video built on dopamine and good vibes. But it can't do anything to help you out on day 3 when you don't really get enough sleep that night and you're not feeling it the morning of. Or those struggling moments of writer's block. Blind reliance on these things to function for us ties our self-worth and part of our identity to whatever service you subscribe to. Bless you. Now, this is not about throwing your devices away. This is about reclaiming your mind. Technology should augment us, not replace us. An idea that we learned from Sherry Turkle, an MIT professor, but author of Reclaiming Conversation. When we prioritize efficiency, we risk depth. That's all of those things that make conversation and connection meaningful. And nobody can watch this without the wonder of tech. You guys here are arguably not here without the information that was communicated out from technology. So the solution is not to throw everything away and start again, but it is to find balance and put forth the care and consideration for the human interactions that help to develop these wonderful things in the first place. I was reading recently, CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, was concerned for the millions of dollars it was costing the service to respond with the manners that the users were using. Now, this isn't a dog whistle or an old man moaning. This is just something that makes me think. Are we then saying that a simple please and a thank you is cost-effective? And what do the users of these over long periods of time learn about their interactions? So how do we fight back? We can do 3 things. First, memorize with intention. Whether it be tonight, tomorrow, or soon, memorize something. A quote from a film that you like, an idea that inspires you, your partner's coffee order. It will start the rewiring of these connections in your brain. The neuroplastic connections that are involved in our memories are strengthened in relation to how hard we lean into the challenge. 2, think with friction. When a problem arises, instead of running to Google to do our thinking for us, ask, what can I do first? Can I reason this out first? You see, learning isn't just about the answers. It is about the journey to the solution. And 3, connect with presence. Put your phones down in conversation. Practice empathy like a language. It will come back. If you're going out to run a 5K, plan point A to point B and then go. If you're at the concert, watch the band. You probably paid hundreds of pounds to be there in the first place. If you're planning some time to cuddle up with your wife or significant other on the sofa, do it and just be. None of this requires quitting technology, but it does require conscious effort. See, with our devices, we hand over our calendars, our thoughts, our conversations, our pictures, our ideas, our imagination, our banking. And we hide it all behind 4 to 6 digits that we arguably chose because they were easy to remember. All in the name of convenience. And yet no machine can replace the joy of a memory earned, or a problem wrestled with, or a feeling deeply felt. You see, to be a human, it's not just about being efficient. It is about being present. I don't want my kids growing up outsourcing their curiosity. I want them to wonder. I want them to struggle. I want them to imagine. You see, the most valuable parts of being human, our ability to remember, our ability to think, and our ability to feel, they're not downloadable. So use technology, leverage it. Just don't become it. Let's stop trading the richness of experience for the illusion of ease. The world doesn't need more perfect answers. So think, feel, remember. Those are the important parts of being a human, and that, I think, is worth fighting for. Thank you.